New at 10 tonight, we have an update on that prison escape investigation out of North Arkansas. You probably haven't forgotten about this one. Grant Hardin is accused of escaping the prison near Calico Rock in late May. A number of law enforcement agencies looked for Hardin for nearly 2 weeks after his escape. He was captured June 6th, hiding in a wooded area not far from the prison. New paperwork shows some movement in that investigation. An Arkansas legislative subcommittee is scheduled to talk about Hardin's escape next week. Right now, Hardin is at Varner Supermax in Gould. That is considered the most secure unit in the Arkansas prison system. Also new tonight, an update on a Washington County murder case from 2024. A jury trial date for April of next year is now set for 21-year-old Gilberto Gordillo of Springdale. He's accused of killing 18-year-old Christian Alexander Rodriguez Barroso. Prosecutors say they were among a group of people at Lake Fayetteville for a fight. Prosecutors, though, say Gordillo had a rifle and used it. 4 other people were hurt in that shooting. Prosecutors say his trial could last as long as 2 weeks. 3 others were also arrested in connection with this case and face a number of charges. Gordillo, though, is the only one of the suspects charged with capital murder. Meanwhile, Washington County Prosecuting Attorney Brandon Carter says the county is making significant strides toward maximum efficiency. His comments reference the latest court backlog data his office shared with 5 News today. It shows 1,100 felony cases have been filed since the start of this year. In that same time, they've been able to close 2,500 of them. Report further states Washington County is clearing cases at a 30% greater rate than last year and a 50% greater rate than 2023. City of Lincoln is getting more than $45,000 to repair its Head Start Child Development building that was damaged during that May tornado. 5 News reporter Parker Abels got more information on the plans to fix the building for the dozens of families who rely on that program.
After the EF1 tornado that went through Lincoln, the city-owned Head Start building was forced to shut down. Mayor Doug Hutchins tells us that the money to fix the building comes from the Arkansas Municipal Property Program. He says that the city approved a bid repair with the lowest bid being nearly $71,000, a number he says the city will be able to pay. In the meantime, it's been a rough go for the Head Start program, which is operated by the Washington County Economic Opportunity Agency, which is currently out of the building.
Well, it's impacted 35 families in the Lincoln area because those children received services, they received meals, they received child development care, and we're a comprehensive child development and family program. So those families also were affected by our inability to provide services for them and their families.
Wright says she and her staff have been able to run the program through the elementary school.
We're able to still get the child development in, still working with parents on their needs. So services were temporarily disruptive for about a week, but that was it.
But that will change come August when the children are expected back, which means they need to get the damaged building fixed and open as soon as possible.
So parents are able to go to school or go to work. And if we're not in that building, then it puts a burden on everybody. And especially when we come back in August, we really would like to be in that building.
In Lincoln, covering news where you live, Parker Abels, 5 News.
Over the past several weeks, we have told you about a number of local agencies that are being affected by federal budget cuts that came out of DOGE. Well, tonight, a Fort Smith nonprofit is starting to feel a slight pinch from state and federal grant cutbacks, but it has nothing to do with recent DOGE decisions.
The funding, it's called VOCA, V-O-C-A, Victim of Crime.
Penny Burns is the executive director of the Crisis Intervention Center in Fort Smith. Her agency provides support to victims of domestic abuse, sexual assault, and human trafficking. She says in the last 4 years, the amount of money coming to Arkansas from VOCA has gone from $27 million to less than $7 million, all because of a continued drop in money going into VOCA.
There's no tax dollars involved in VOCA. It's all search and seizure money, fine money from court systems that's put in there. So it's redistributed to the states on a per capita level. So of course, Arkansas loses out sometimes because we don't have the same type of population base that some of the larger states have.
4 years ago, Burns says she was getting about $650,000 a year from VOCA. This year, it'll be less than $250,000, if that much. She is quick to point out, though, with other sources of income, these cuts are not having a major impact on what she does.
Our shelter services and 24-hour hotline services and our medical forensic clinic are 100%. They are covered. We're not losing staff there. We're not losing programs there. We're not losing services there. Some of the supplemental programs that we do, we may not have staff.
As far as any DOGE cuts are concerned,
it's not going to affect us directly because our eggs are not in a basket that's just serving one culturally specific or demographic population. We say in our world, inside Crisis Intervention Center, the language that my board has chosen to use and we train our staff to use is we serve victims of crime.
Burns says the formula used to distribute VOCA funds has not changed in more than 30 years, and with less money going into that program, she says she's hopeful it's changed very soon in order for the funds to be properly distributed. Well, new information tonight on the investigation into the man accused of shooting 2 lawmakers and their spouses. 2 of those victims died. Investigators now say they recovered more than 50 guns following the suspect's arrest. Jennifer Mayerly reports.
These documents show what investigators found inside Vance Belter's Green Isle home and inside the SUV that resembled a police squad car. Here's the evidence list of guns the BCA recovered, from pistols to rifles and revolvers. Inside the SUV, 5 semi-automatic assault-style rifles, upwards of 50 in all. Are there any restrictions on how many guns a person can buy?
No, if you are not federally prohibited, you can purchase as many firearms as your budget allows you to purchase.
Same day or over multiple days?
It can be same day, it can be multiple days. Travis
Riddle is the ATF special agent in charge of the St. Paul Field Division. He says the purchase process starts with filling out a 4473 form inside what's called a Federal Firearms Licensee, or FFL, or store which sells guns.
You're going to fill out the 4473, which has a list of questions. Most of them have to do with prohibitors. Are you a felon? Are you addicted to a substance? The FFL will also include the firearm information. They'll fill it out, make, model, serial number, caliber. And you're also attesting to the fact that the gun that you are purchasing is for yourself and not for somebody else.
Riddle says as long as the person passes the background check, they can walk out the door the same day. Belter was legally able to purchase a gun. Riddle says everyone investigators seized was traced by the ATF to learn the origin of the gun.
So all the firearms that were recovered from the multiple scenes were urgent traced through the tracing center. And then from that point, the tracing center will initiate the trace, which will go to the manufacturer, to the distributor, to the FFL.
WCCO took you inside the ATF National Tracing Center to show how crime guns are traced.
Got it. Right here.
It's here where they can figure out who bought the gun, when, and where. The information can provide an investigative lead.
I have those 2 gun traces for you.
In a case like this, the request is escalated.
This was our contribution to the investigation. We had people on standby at the tracing center, and we also had people on standby at the correlation center for any of the shell casings. So they were ready when that information was submitted to immediately start the tracing process.
Congress prohibits the ATF from sharing gun trace information publicly. The agency can only share the data with the investigating agency and the prosecution.
That was Jennifer Mayerly reporting. Now, a new gun tracing law just went into effect there. Agencies in Minnesota must now trace all guns recovered from crime scenes and share that information with other agencies across the state. Brian Koberger, the suspect accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students 3 years ago, admits to the murders. 30-year-old accepted a plea deal that includes 4 life sentences, 1 for each victim, with no possibility of parole or appeal. His official sentencing is set for next month. Now, the victims' families are reportedly divided over the plea deal. Some say it brings closure, while others are upset they were not involved in the decision to offer it.
He negotiated with the murderer of our children. That was the only person that he negotiated with. He didn't give us the common courtesy to negotiate with us.
Judge scheduled Koberger's sentencing for next month when the court had planned to bring in thousands of potential jurors to fill out questionnaires. The victims' family members are expected to give impact statements to the court at that hearing. The jury reached a verdict in Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial this morning, clearing the hip-hop mogul of the most serious charges. Bradley Blackburn has the story now from outside the courthouse.
Family members were greeted with cheers outside the courthouse minutes after Sean Diddy Combs heard the jury's verdict. The hip-hop mogul was found not guilty of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. He was found guilty of arranging transportation to engage in prostitution. Despite the convictions for prostitution charges, the defense team declared Wednesday's verdict a win.
Today's a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system.
I talked to Sean. He's thankful, he's relieved, and he thanks the jurors.
Combs' defense team argued the music mogul should be released on a $1 million bond as he awaits sentencing. But the judge denied bail, saying Combs' attorneys failed to demonstrate that he poses no danger to any person. Combs will remain in custody until his sentencing hearing on October 3rd. Even cleared of the most serious charges, the conviction on the 2 prostitution counts still carries up to 10 years behind bars. Legal analysts say Wednesday's verdict was a blow to the prosecution.
This is just a huge loss for them. They went out on a limb, and the jury, saw it the way the defense saw it.
Prosecutors tried to convince the jury Combs was the leader of a criminal enterprise, one that forced women into abusive sex acts during drug-fueled parties he called freak-offs. Combs' attorneys argued the freak-offs were consensual and accused the prosecution of putting Combs on trial for his lifestyle. As the verdict was read, Combs pumped his fist in the air, then dropped to his knees in prayer. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.